Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely heartwarming and honestly kind of whimsical story that perfectly captures the pure magic of compassionate support work. We're looking at Phil and his truly unique support squad who completely flipped his daily routine upside down in the best way possible. By the end of this explainer, we're going to see just how profoundly a simple human connection mixed with a little bit of playful creativity can turn a totally ordinary day into a literal adventure.
So, I want to start off by asking you a question. What is the ultimate power source? Just keep that in the back of your mind as we go. Imagine waking up on a regular, bright morning, hearing a cheerful knock at your door, and opening it to find a whole team of people waiting outside. Now, they look like perfectly ordinary folks, but there's a playful twist. Every single one of them is sporting this tiny, glowing blue light on their wrist. They announce themselves as the Team Android Support Squad, arriving like a sci-fi crew on a mission. No way, right?
Okay, let's dive into this. When the team first introduces themselves as androids, Phil naturally cracks up and says, "Androids? Really?" But Debbie cheekily winks and fires right back, "The best kind. We're powered by kindness, laughter, and cups of tea." Right out of the gate, the team uses this brilliant, playful metaphor to completely disarm any tension and set this incredibly warm, joyful dynamic. It's such a clever way to reframe daily support from what could feel like a clinical service into, well, an engaging friendship. Let's talk about the roster for this incredible squad. We've got Chris, Debbie, Haley B, Blessing, Greg, and Sebastian. Now, they didn't show up in robotic suits or crazy high-tech gear. They just look like your everyday people. But the way they worked together to support Phil, absolutely extraordinary. Each member brought their own totally unique energy, creating this amazing, comprehensive network of care that basically covered every single aspect of Phil's day.
So, what exactly is Team Android? Well, they're a support squad fueled not by batteries or code, but by kindness, laughter, and cups of tea. Their primary directive, their one and only mission, is literally just to help Phil have the best day possible. And this playful premise is so incredibly effective. By treating their support like this highly dedicated programming mission, they basically make Phil the absolute VIP of the day. All their focus is zeroed in entirely on his well-being and his joy.
Let's move through the timeline of Phil's day and see how this builds. It is beautifully structured to balance everything. We've got morning chores and a calming mental health walk, an afternoon of social integration at Conway Connect with a lively bus ride, and finally, an evening wrapped up with some high-energy karaoke.
Part 1. The Programming. Upgrading Morning Tasks.
Now, what's really interesting about this structured psychological approach is how it hides within these really playful methods. I mean, for a lot of us, morning chores can feel totally mundane, maybe even a bit overwhelming, right? But Team Android tackles this by transforming these routine, everyday tasks into genuinely joyous activities. They use these brilliant steps to empower Phil. First, they gamify everyday chores, literally turning work into play. Second, they bring in mental health walks to ground him in nature. And third, they actively connect him with the community. These aren't just random activities, they're super deliberate steps built to boost Phil's confidence and autonomy. Just to give you an idea, let's look at the chores. Chris and Sebastian didn't just tidy up for Phil, they helped him do it while basically turning the whole thing into a game. Sebastian threw on some super cheerful music, and they were all just belting out songs while cleaning the flat. Before you knew it, the kitchen was sparkling, the bedroom was tidy, and Phil felt this massive sense of pride in what they'd accomplished together. And then, to cap it all off, Greg busts out his absolute best superhero voice and announces, "Mission accomplished!" which of course had the whole room bursting into laughter. So after that high energy, the team knew they needed to slow the pace down a bit warmly. They headed out for one of Phil's absolute favorite things, a relaxing mental health walk. Haley B guided them along this gorgeous route through the park. And as they were just taking it all in, listening to the birds, watching the clouds drift by, she offered this really beautiful reminder. She said every step is a victory. And you could just see Phil's anxiety simply melting away. The fresh air, the easy conversation, the laughs, it all just helped him feel so much calmer and way more confident. Moving on to part 2, the network, syncing up with social connection. As the day rolls into the afternoon, we hit on one of the absolutely crucial pieces of effective support work, preventing isolation. Team Android totally gets that integrating Phil into a wider social network is just as vital as the one-on-one time at home. And that brings us to Conway Connect. The squad took Phil out to join this community space where they met up with friends. They spent the whole afternoon trying out fun new crafts, playing games, and just hanging out over lunch. The key takeaway here, Phil wasn't just existing near the community, he was actively participating in it, all while surrounded by this incredible safety net of continuous encouragement from his squad as he tried new things. During all these activities, Blessing showed she has this incredible gift for timing. Her words were so simple, but man, they were powerful. You've got this, Phil, one step at a time. She just always knew exactly what to say and the perfect moment to say it. Those perfectly timed, kind words were like these gentle little affirmations that kept reinforcing Phil's belief in himself. It's such a great reminder of how absolutely powerful, targeted, genuine encouragement can be, for sure. And that social connection didn't stop there. Later on, they hopped on a bus for a little adventure. Phil loves gazing out the window, so Chris took the opportunity to just make up these incredibly funny, ridiculous stories about the places they were driving past. The absolute highlight, he points out the window at this random pigeon and jokes that it's waiting to catch the number 12 bus. I mean, everyone laughed so hard that even the other passengers on the carriage couldn't help but smile. Team Android's joy was literally contagious. And finally, part 3, the true power source, unplugging at karaoke. After a full day of structured support, it was time to let loose, celebrate all those little victories, and just have a blast together. Picture this, totally joyful scene in a karaoke room. Phil is the very first one to grab the mic. He flashes this huge grin and shouts, "This one's for Team Android," before dedicating a song to his squad. And of course, pretty soon Chris, Debbie, Haley B, Blessing, Greg, and Sebastian are all up there singing their hearts out together. It was just this moment of pure, unadulterated joy, completely filling the room with music, dancing, and tons of applause. And this brilliantly illustrates the core message of our explainer today. On one hand, you've got this metaphor of Android technology, right? It's all about hyper-efficiency, flawless coding, and rigid programming. But on the other side, human magic. And that magic lives in the kindness, the infinite patience, and, let's be honest, the wonderfully terrible karaoke singing. Some of the notes they hit were perfect. Some were painfully awful, but literally nobody cared. It's that beautiful, messy imperfection of human connection that actually makes the support work so successful. So as the music eventually faded out, Phil had this really profound realization. The real tech specs of Team Android had nothing to do with a rigid clinical system making his day special. It was all about these deeply human traits: kindness, patience, encouragement, silly jokes, laughter. It was the seamless way they wove those qualities into everyday chores, walks in the park, and silly bus rides. That's the stuff that made all the difference in his world. As the sun finally began to set on what was just an incredible day, Chris offered a warm smile and playfully ended their shift, announcing, "Android Support Squad signing off for today." Which is just the perfect bookend to that sci-fi introduction from the morning, right? The team headed home laughing, completely exhausted, but already looking forward to whatever adventure they'd get into next, and the chance to make even more happy memories. I want to wrap up our explainer today with Phil's own response, because it just hits the nail on the head perfectly. He grinned at his team and said, "Thank you all. You don't need batteries to be superheroes. You just need kind hearts." Wow. I really want you to reflect on that as you go about your week. How can simple, everyday acts of kindness and patience transform the world of someone around you? Because as Team Android showed us today, the absolute most advanced, powerful force we could ever have at our disposal is simply a kind heart. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep looking for those moments of human magic in your own life.